Hey guys, Chris from Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to episode 80 of the Emergency Storage Shed Clean Out series. Yes, 80 weeks in a row. We do have a carryover box to do this week, but let's go and have a look in here and see how it's looking. It's always good to get a perspective whilst you walk into the shed. A few of you were quite amazed at how long this shed is. When we did a couple of episodes back, we stood down the back and looked along the wall. So yes, we're not even halfway through yet. A lot of stuff to discover. There's our carryover box from last week. Tools, bit of a mixture. There's some scrap, there's some just handy size bits of metal. We'll sort that out in this episode. Hopefully it doesn't take us too long. I want to keep dragging stuff out from underneath. I've had a few electronics videos lately, and I've got another TV repair video, so I'll try and mix them up so you don't get all electronic stuff. There is some vintage stuff in there we've got to deal with. We have a box up there which I'm really itching to get into. There's some pretty cool stuff in that, and I think there's a cuckoo clock in the top of it from memory. But I do want to get these shelves out, so we'll continue working our way underneath until we get to the other two end feet of it, and then we have to empty the top off, of course. Then we can move them out. Heaps more room in this shed then, and I'll probably then switch back up to the top of this one to work along there, because having these empty shelves is really proving to be handy as far as sorting stuff out. I'm not going to refill it with junk, and I will, justify what I put on there to you guys, because it keeps me on the level. All right, let's take this box through and have a good rummage through it on the bench. It's certainly a heavy little tub. I did leave it on the table last episode, but I've needed the table for some jobs, so I've got put back in that shed. Now, before we get into this, I have a little bit of an update to do. If you remember back the last episode, we pulled out these scope soldering iron tips and heating elements, and I threw them on eBay. Here's the listing, and as you can see, I was looking for 50. We got multiple bids, and it ended up selling for $71. So even with fees and with the free postage I offered, I actually made over $50 on those. So that was a nice little bonus to find in that box last week. Okay, let's go through this one and see what we can find. Okay, I haven't had a rummage. I've just seen what you can see, and clearly that's a broken rat tail file. So there's going to be a bit of scrap metal. That's a bit of square, probably key steel for making keys for pulleys. I will keep that. So there's going to be some bits and pieces. That's a gate post pivot and some big clamps. So I don't know if I'll need to keep all of these, but I think they're a bit good for scrap, so we'll probably sort them out. Maybe we'll have a box of gate fittings, and that's part of a clamp too. I'm not sure what that goes with. And there's just bits and pieces that are handy when you're welding up something and you need little bits. There's a wire cable clamp that will be handy for someone, I think, better than scrap. That's the boss from the bottom of a lawnmower that a blade mounts on, so we'll hang on to that. We have some coal chisels. Oh, there's a nice, very rusty. They've been lying in a wet box. That's a shame. There's some probably English made. They would have been nice quality ones. It's a shame they got so rusty. We could probably clean them up, but they're not in the best condition. We have someone's done some welding here. I don't think this was me. A spark plug spanner been welded to, that's all fixed, welded to a socket. So I mean, it's still going to get better value if I put that in the $1 box rather than the scrap metal bin. Another gate hinge. Now there's numerous thread tapping dies here, all the smaller ones. Some are a little rusty, but they're scattered right through this box. So I'll put all them to one side. I'll probably hang on to those, and because I want to make up a good set of metric and imperial thread cutting gear. So I'm not sure what brand these are. I've got others somewhere, but I will keep them until I sort out those sets properly. There's a little, that's probably like the actual thread tap, and there's another holder of the threading tap rather than the dies. So we'll keep all those aside. There's another cable clamp. I won't have to make a box of those. Punches, just bolts that have been used as punches. Some very butchered coal chisels. Some of these, look, either scrap metal or in the dollar box, but that one's bent. It's got rounded on the end and flared out. That's probably just scrap metal, that one. Oh, we found some of these in the last box. That's a pipe flaring tool, or part of it. You need a punch with a tapered punch to go with that. That's got a broken wing nut, so that's probably only the $1 box maybe. Just a bit of, oh actually that's from a car jack. And I may even have a car jack at the shop that doesn't have a handle. It's got the little notches there for you to undo and close up the valve, and then you obviously work it. So a hydraulic car jack handle. That's a very early bolt from one of those early bed frames, you know, the ones with the Oregon timber sides and the wire, mesh wire, and you can actually adjust one end to tension the wire up. They're nice old bolts though, so I don't think I need them particularly though. Little bits of metal which are handy for welding up various things or making gussets on a frame that you need to strengthen. I'll probably keep a few of those. Part of a gate hinge. I wonder if the other part's there. That's a different gate hinge to the other ones. What's this angle? Oh, here we go. A crank handle. Lost its wooden swivel piece, but we could easily make one. It's bigger than a kitchen mincer. Maybe a separator. Not sure. Maybe some sort of, maybe like a small chaff cutter. Probably farming, I would suggest. But yeah, not really a lot of value. That's a tie-in from a little garden hoe. It usually has 3 of those. Is that a hammerhead, or is that, might have been a hammerhead. Lots of punches. I might just put a lot of these. That one's been snapped clean off. Just bits of metal. Punches. Not sure where all this come from. There's another crank handle. That's possibly off a wind-up washing line, like a Hills hoist or something. Just standard little building brackets. There's another part of that gate hinge. Is that the matching one, or I must have put that back in there? A screwdriver minus its handle. So it's not quite as exciting as I thought it might have been. Wood rasp. Another boss from a lawnmower. And that probably suits it. I think that's probably off a Rover. Yeah, there's a few of those in here. Just lots of little bits of metal. Yeah, and some stuff. That's a decent stepped punch. It's been abused. But some of the solid bits of metal I might keep for my lathe. There's the little holder for the tapping dies. There are some rusty sockets in here as well. Nothing very exciting. More drill bits in there I can see. It's part of a door lock. More lawnmower bosses. Glass cutter. Alright, I'll go through it all. I'll sort it out. Some of it's going to be scrap metal. Some will just be handy bits of metal. Some will be tools I'll keep. Not very much value though, I'm afraid. But I'll sort it out. I won't waste your time. And then we'll go and get another box. Hopefully we'll find something a bit better. Okay, well, I'm glad you didn't experience that with me, because this was quite a boring box. I suspect it actually may have been sorted as scrap metal previously, either by me or someone else. There's not very much I'm going to keep. All these punches and little coal chisels are all damaged to some degree. They're bent, they've been modified, they've got pieces split off them. I'm going to put the whole lot in a tin at the shop for $5 the lot. Someone will buy them at that, because you can always grind them down as center punches like that one has been. Much better value than scrap. So we'll get some return. These are just building brackets. They're galvanized. I don't know that there's much value in those. They might just go in the scrap bin. All this stuff is going straight in the scrap. It's the bolts are all rusty. They're older style ones. Even the bits of door hardware I thought may have been brass were all just steel. Old bearings, a broken G-clamp. Even the little bits of steel, I don't need to keep them at the moment. I'm not set up for doing any welding here, so all scrap. That's a bolt, an engine mount bolt from a Victor lawnmower. The bolt itself's okay. I don't think I need that bracket. So I'll just chuck the bolt in a box somewhere with bolts. This is too far gone to clean up. It's not just surface rust. It's actually started to really flake away at the metal. So that's a shame. It probably would have been a good piece, but that's going for scrap. One little drill bit's probably okay. These galvanized pieces, well, the gate post things will pivot post things will go in the $1 box. They'll sell quite well for that. I think you'd pay a fair bit for them from hardware. I think I'll put all that stuff in the $1 box, as well as all this. Just some scissors. I think they're English ones, but they're not the best condition. A couple of cute little hammer heads. So they're all going in the $1 box. A few bits of hardware here. These are little coat hooks, and that's a window pull on the old sash windows. I just got a $1 box for old hardware in the shop as well. I only found half of that one, so that can go in the scrap. These old bosses, blade bosses for lawnmowers, they're quite old ones. These were either Massport or Rover, and I don't use these anymore. And even if I had a mower come in, this is the part that doesn't wear out. So I'm never going to need one of those. I will keep the more modern one. That's the only one I'll keep. I could probably put $5 on that in the shop. I might hang on to it here. But these ones can also go in the scrap bins. At least they weigh well. That's a bit of cast alloy or die cast, and it's just irony, so they can go in my bucket for irony alley. What else have we got? These heavy cast iron things are the brackets for an old bed. They had a tapered piece slot into them each end. I don't have the other bits for them. I don't think they're worth keeping. Again, they weigh well, so we will just sell those for scrap metal. The little axe heads, not bad. We'll better clean that up and see if we can see a brand on it. That's something that we can sell, so I'll buff that up in a minute. The crank handles, we might try 5 on this one because it is a very old one, and upon closer inspection, this is off a winch. A $1 box maybe. I don't think it's worth trying to get 5 for. And the little button dies, they're all made in Taiwan. They're 80s. I don't think it's worth my while keeping them. I'm sure I've got better ones here, better quality ones. I think I'll put all these in a little box at the shop for maybe $10 a lot. I think someone will grab those. So a little bit of return, a lot of scrap. Oh, these old wood bolts, I don't think they're going to be that saleable. If there was a whole box of them, yes, but 3 or 4, no, they can go in the scrap as well. So that's sort of that box. Not much return, but I will make some notes in the notepad. Let's go and get something else. Okay, let's grab this tub out of here. That's obviously a fuel can. We'll do that another time because there's 2 of those. But I want to see what's in this tub, and it's falling apart. It's gone totally brittle. We'll try and get it out somehow. I hope that bucket's not sitting on it. Oh, I think it might be. Oh, why are we digging this out? All right, let's just break the box up. Oh, okay, we have a couple of telephones. An old bread baking box with some chain in it. Some handles from shovels. Well, that's a pouring spout from a fuel can. Oh, I hope these haven't been damaged. Oh, there's a cute little oil can. Oh, it's got something written on it too. That's nice. And another oil can. Very good. A lid from something. Oh, there's a container in here. Little stainless steel canister. Yep, that fits. Another handle from a shovel. And some vintage telephones, 1980s era dial phones, rotary dial. They sell well. That one looks like it's been a bit damaged, unfortunately. Whoops, I don't want to damage it anymore. And, oh, okay, we have a little family of oil cans in the back. There we go. Now, I think that bucket actually might be leaning on the box. So, perhaps we'll leave it there because I don't know what's in that bucket. So we won't be able to get into the bottom box. Oh, that's going to be a challenge. Well, we might be able to break it away. Hopefully that's not too heavy. We'll do that next week. Let's get this stuff back on the bench. So I've got some pretty good value from that broken box. The shovel handles, well, those 2 are quite rotten. I'm not going to worry about those. They can just go in the pressing steel. These ones I'll throw in the $1 box at the shop. They're good enough to be reused. I'll hang on to that pouring spout because I have a little fuel can that I think the spout has split. The little, it's a baking tin from a bakery to make a loaf of bread, although they usually had big gangs of them rather than just individual ones. I'll just keep these bits of chain. They're good for hanging lights up. Sometimes I use these heavier ones for chaining things around veranda posts at the shop so they don't get stolen. And if I get too much, I just do a little box lot of chain like that for $5, and people buy it for hanging up plants in their fernery and that sort of stuff. There's some hooks with it as well. But I'll hang on to that for now. I won't write down anything for that one. Our little stainless steel canister thing here. I think I did use this at the back of the shop. It was handy outside when I was scrapping just to put nuts and bolts and screws in, because if I forgot to bring it in, it was, it didn't fill up with water when it rained. So handy little container. If nothing else, it could go in the stainless steel scrap. It's non-magnetic. I doubt I'd get $5 for it at the shop. It's just a bit scruffy. So we'll use that one. There's some good money in the oil cans. For some reason, they sell very well. These are quite old ones. I will drain the oil out of them because I don't know what's in most of them, and they're fairly full, and just give them a bit of a wash up in old petrol so that they look a lot better. We'll probably get $20 for each of these. They're quite possibly Riga ones. They've got brass caps, and in my experience, they do sell very well. This one is one I remember I used to have when I was mechanicking, and it's still full, and it was, if I remember correctly, it was a very good quality oil, so it'll still be fine. I'll use that one here. This one's empty and similar year, about 1980s. I possibly even had that one from new, but I'll just maybe put $5 or $10 on that. It's only a plastic plunger and everything, so a bit cheaper. This little one's a nice one too. I think we'd go 15 on this. It's Brame, I think, English brand. One of the little, press the bottom and it kind of pops as you're oiling. So 15 there, maybe 20. So we're over $50, about $60 there. And as for the phones, well, they're pretty rough, but they are popular. Now, these are the most boring of colours. The red ones usually get around $100. The green ones, 60 odd. If these were in good condition, I'd put them in the shop for about 40, but they're not in good condition. This one has a bit broken off the dial thing. They're very dirty, as you can see. I will give them a bit of a quick clean up. I don't think either of them have plugs on the end of the wire. Oh, there we go. No, they've just been cut off. This one is a bit rusty on the front. The dial part's not broken at least, but they're very dirty. I'll give them a clean up, but I'm not going to go to too much trouble, and I think we'll just put $20 each on them in the shop. People will use them as props. Not so many people actually want to have these things wired up to use them because they're not really practical these days. I mean, if you've got to dial a mobile number, you know how long it takes? Oh, that one's not going to retract very well. And particularly if you've got a number with a lot of zeros, and even 000 takes forever to dial. I think the emergency calls overseas are probably a bit better. What's the US is 911, is it? Or is that just from TV shows? At least ones are quicker. And the other thing is, if you call a government department and you have to press 1 to go to a certain section, you can't do it on these. So they're not very practical, but they do sell well because they're vintage. There's about 1980s and brings back a lot of nostalgia for people. Telecom 802 model. The earlier Bakelite ones do get better money, but these ones, I think we'll get $20 each for these cleaned up. Back out in the shed this evening to finish off this video and show you that I have changed my mind on a few things. We'll get to the notepad shortly. I'm going to sell this tub of chain. I decided I've got enough floating around here, so that can just go. We'll just put $5 on it. I did pull out this stuff because that's all brass. So there's nearly $5 worth of scrap brass there. It weighs a fair bit. I don't think I need any brass chain, so that can probably go on the scrap bins. The oil can's cleaned up pretty well, as you can see. I even polished just gave the brass caps a bit of a buff up. I've upped the prices on those. I've gone 25 each on those. Still 15 on that one. 5 on that one. And because it's a more modern one, and I'm actually keeping that one because it's got some very good oil in it, and I do need one oil can here. The telephone's cleaned up pretty good. I just gave them a wash in warm soapy water. You could, all these marks would actually polish off. You could use Brasso and they would actually polish up quite well. There's no cracks to the cases. There's a bit of paint on this one, I think, in a couple of spots. Yeah, but that would clean up okay. This one does have the broken dial. It actually freed up, so that noise probably brings back memories to a few of you. It possibly even works, but I'm not going to put a plug on it. I'm not going to clean it up any more than that. Should get $20 each for those. This one, I think, still a bit stiff. Yeah. No, it kind of works. Anyway, that's what I've done with those. I pulled these lawnmower blade bosses out of the scrap bin because I did a quick check on eBay, and I'm amazed that they still sell these new, and they bring in $20 to $30 to buy one of those. So I'll put them in the shop at $5 each. I don't expect to sell them, certainly not quickly, but we might sell one or two every now and again. And if we don't, and I get sick of them, they can go in the scrap bin then. I only wrote down $10 for those, and there was the one better one, the one more modern one. I've already packed it up with all the $1 stuff. So we'll just work on $10 for all of those, and we could do a lot better. But yeah, so probably a bit good to scrap. And likewise with these brackets off the old beds, the rails actually had the fitting that goes in them, and the rails turn up quite often. And I did see someone sell a set of 3 of these on eBay. Now, 3 isn't even a complete set, and they got $50 for them. It was a buy it now, so I don't know who bought them, and I don't know what they bought them for, but I surely can get better than scrap money. So I've just put $10 on those. The complete set should sell. Someone might even be looking to restore a bed and need a set of them. And the axe head we checked out. I couldn't see a brand on it. I just gave it a bit of a quick clean. It's undamaged though. It's got quite a nice blade on it. It's not chipped. Be easy to put a handle in it and have quite a good little hatchet for your camping kit. I wrote down $10 for that. So our price, with all that in mind, worked out at $170. Now, I haven't added anything for the big pile of $1 stuff I had. I've already packed that up for the shop, as I mentioned. I did write down $5 for the scrap because there was over there was over 10 kilos of heavy steel. Plus, we've got, $3 or $4 worth of brass there. So, anyway, that's pretty good, hey, for something that was a bit disappointing to start with. Although the second box obviously came good with the better value stuff at the end. Although it did take me a while to wash it up. So thanks for getting through another episode of the Emergency Storage Shed Cleanup series with me. We've got a lot more stuff to take to the shop tomorrow, and I do enjoy that with this series, is when I've finished going through it all and cleaning it up, pack it all in boxes, take it to the shop, and hopefully sell a lot of it the first weekend. If you do spot something you want, send me a message for sure. If you're local, no worries, pop into the shop. You could also join my Facebook group, The Ultimate Recycler, and send me a message that way. And totals, well, our 170 is added to our running total from that shed, and we're just over $12,600 worth of stuff that we've priced out of that shed so far, and not very much hangs around. Most of it sells pretty quickly. So that's good for my bottom line, good for the space. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you next one. Bye for now.